We now have 6 weeks to go until the presidential election.
Yes, the race remains close as Vice President Harris and former President Trump continue to stump for votes in battleground states. Joining us now is Washington Bureau Chief and Political Director Rick Klein. Rick, as we just mentioned, the race is really close. The polls are showing a close race. What are we seeing here?
It is a fascinating dynamic, Eva, because even as we've seen Vice President Harris open up a decent lead in national polls, as you see in our 538 polling average, a couple of points, and it's been a steady couple of points for a while, it is flatly a different portrait in the battleground states. A New York Times poll out this week in the Sun Belt states showing a distinct edge for Trump in those states, and there in our 538 polling average across the battlegrounds, you see Harris leading in a few states but trailing in a few more. Those Midwestern states a little bit better for her than those Sun Belt states, but it is going to be a close race throughout, regardless of what national polls are showing.
So what's the likelihood that we will see another presidential debate? Vice President Harris is saying yes to a debate. The former president, nah, not going to happen.
Yeah, this is fascinating, DeMarco, because it was Trump who was insisting on more debates before the ABC debate 2 weeks ago. Now it's Harris who wants an additional debate. As of now, I think it is less likely to happen. There's a vice presidential debate a week from tonight. That might be the last word between the candidates. Trump is saying it's too late to do an additional debate because so many states are already voting. But it should be noted that presidential debates typically happen in October. In fact, the famous debate between Trump and Hillary Clinton, the final debate in 2016, happened almost exactly at the same point in the cycle that the proposed debate would happen next month on CNN. And Trump himself had previously agreed to another debate that was in October. So bottom line is candidates do debates when it's good for an individual candidate. Right now, it doesn't look like Trump thinks it's good for his campaign to be out there again.
Now let's switch gears a little bit and talk about that man that is suspected in the most recent apparent assassination attempt on Trump. He appeared in court. What have we learned about it?
Really scary details have come out about how close he came to getting sight on the former president himself. He was camped out, as we know, near one of the greens on the golf course, and he was just maybe a few minutes away from being close enough to get off a clean shot that could have killed former President Trump. Beyond that, we know that there were clear political motivations behind him. He has been outspoken about his support for Ukraine in the war effort against Russia. And of course, we also know now that he wrote down some of his intentions here, and even anticipating that he would fail in offering a bounty. So as more has come out, in some ways it's more troubling, and in some ways it's more comforting that the Secret Service did its job in this case.
All right, President Biden is expected to address the UN today in what will be his farewell speech to world leaders. What should we be on the lookout for?
What a moment for Joe Biden on the world stage. He has been off the stage or off the spotlight a bit since he decided not to seek that additional term, but he still has these major world conflicts out there. He came into the presidency with such vast experience on foreign policy, a former chairman of the Foreign Relations Committee, a vice president, and now a president who's been very active on the world stage. But it is a very complicated picture with Israel, with Russia, with China, with North Korea. There's so many hotspots out there. This, I think, will go a long way toward his attempt to define a legacy, but we have seen again, and we will see more of world events shaping this presidency and how this president is remembered.
ABC's Rick Klein, thank you so much for joining us today.
Good to see you, Rick.
Thank you, guys.